Hi, Go Run Girls, Coach Maree here, and I've got another exciting interview for you today. Today I'm interviewing Adventurous Lucy, who is coming to us all the way from Australia, in Victoria in fact, and she has a massive goal which I'm super intrigued to find out more about. So Lucy is going to be running the length of New Zealand, which is 3,000 Ks. And doing that on the Te Araroha track. Now, I've actually been on that track and done like a smidgen, Lucy, and that is a really tough and challenging course. And you're doing the whole thing, so that's just fantastic and mind-blowing. But anyway, Lucy, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Very, very excited. So we have Go Run Girls across New Zealand and Australia, so I'm sure you're going to motivate some of these girls to just reach out of their comfort zone and go and do something that is fun, really. So Lucy, let's get into it. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your life, what you do when you're not running.
Yeah, so my name's Lucy. I'm 34 years old. I am from Australia, Victoria. I live in a little town called Bright, which is in a mountain region in Victoria. There's about 3,000 people that live there. I moved there a year and a half ago from the big city. Basically, we packed up our life and said, what makes us happy? And it's running and mountain bike riding. So let's do that more. So we moved out there. I'm a runner, so I have run all of my life, but I probably got more into running when I was about 25, 26. And since then I've done about 10 or so marathons and a few ultra marathons as well. And now I've really ramped it up and decided to go on a 3,000 kilometer run.
Wow. So what made you want to do it?
So a few years back, my husband and I actually cycled the length of the UK from Land's End to John O'Groats, and it was an amazing experience. Basically, getting up every day, you just got on your bike. Your sole purpose was get from point A to point B. You eat lots of food, you see amazing sights, and talk to loads of great people. And I think it was the simplicity of it was just really beautiful. And so that was probably 3 or 4 years ago. And then I sort of started getting itchy feet. And I've seen lately there's a lot of amazing women that are doing these awesome, goals. And, you see Courtney Dauwalter, who's winning 200-mile races outright. And, not just elite athletes, but other, non-elites doing some awesome things. And I thought, maybe I could do something, even bigger than our cycle. And then I found the trail, and then I found out only a couple of women had ever run it. And then I thought, you know what, maybe I could do it. And it kind of, once it got a grip of me, it wouldn't really let go. And so I thought about it for a couple of years. And then last year I just bit the bullet and went, you know what, if I don't give it a go, I'll regret it. So just started planning, and now I'm starting in 3 days.
So exciting. I love those thoughts of craziness, and I have them too. And I think one of the keys, and we talked about this earlier, was not to overthink things and feel like you need a deep reason to do it. Some of these things you just need to do for fun.
Exactly. And I think, if it's something that makes you happy and it makes you fulfilled and it makes you feel a sense of achievement, even if other people don't get it, doesn't matter. As long as it makes sense to you, then I say go and do it. Life is meant to be enjoyed and lived. So if it's going to help, make it better for you, then just give it a crack.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the actual race or route or adventure that you're going to start on Monday. So you're starting in Cape Reinga.
Yep. And then I'm going all the way down to Bluff. So as you mentioned, it's about 3,000 Ks long. So the trail is about 80% trail, and then there's about 20% road. And over the course of the distance, the elevation is equivalent to summiting Everest 9 times. So there's lots of
Oh,
hills and
wow.
mountains, and I am expecting all sorts of terrain. So the first 100 k's is on a beach, you're going through forests, mud, you're doing river crossings, you're running on the road. There are also some sections, like for example in the Richmond Ranges, where you can't get to sort of support, so I'll be staying in backcountry huts for some of those nights. There's about 12 nights I'll be staying out in a hut, which will be
Wow.
exciting, a little bit scary, but exciting.
Totally. Yeah. So you're
And
really going out of your comfort zone with these little
yeah,
adventures along the way. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I think, I'm fortunate where I live in the mountains is perfect training ground for me. But this will still definitely get me out of my comfort zone. There's a lot more Ks, but also, having to go out, carry all my food equipment with me, stay in a hut, and then back it up the next day and go run another 50 Ks. That is going to be hard, but it'll be, it'll be fun as well.
So I watched a little recording of you, and you mentioned that it was a marathon a day. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if you average it out over the entire distance, it averages out to about a marathon a day, but it's anywhere between 30 to 70 Ks, depending on the terrain. So obviously 30 Ks is when you're in pretty hard terrain. 70 Ks is, on a relatively flat kind of road.
So tell me, and I know the girls will be interested to know your training plan. I mean, what does that look like for something so big?
So I got a specialist coach called Andy Dubois. So he has coached many ultra athletes before and people that have done things like this. It's interesting because I come from a road marathon background, and the training does differ a bit, but not drastically. So I ran every day from June until just the other day. That was just getting used to getting up every day running. But then in my week, I would still do two, I guess you call them quality sessions. So that would be, one would be an interval session, one would be a hill session, typically a Thursday and a Tuesday. And then I'd have a long run on the weekend, which would be anywhere between, 3 to 6 hours. And then I would do easy running on the other days. So just keeping my legs turning over. The other thing was that we had a couple of training weekends. So I would do 3 big days. So I'd do, say, 30K on a Friday, then I'd do 45K on a Saturday, and then 55 on a Sunday. So that's just getting used to those big days of mileage. But it's really important that you don't overcook yourself before you get to the start line for any race or for something like this. But also, as I go through it, in the first few weeks, I'm actually going to be gaining fitness as well. So I really don't want to be at the point where I'm overtrained at all. If anything, I want to be a little bit undertrained because I'm going to get some of that fitness during the start of it.
Absolutely. And did you have some strength work in there? Some glute work maybe for the hills that you're about to endure?
Yeah, so I would go to the gym twice a week. So I do a specialist program again from my coach, which did a lot of like glutes and some core work, and it wasn't using big weights, it was mainly using body weights, but it was like had some really funky moves, and I got a lot of weird looks at the gym, but they were moves that really mimicked running and the way your body moves when you're running, but they also complemented my running. So because there weren't big weights, I never really pulled up sore, which meant that I couldn't run. So it was a really good balance between being able to do my strength but still running. I also did yoga once a week as well, just to force me to do some stretching.
And some downtime, and yoga is so good, I find, for the mental side of things and just slowing the mind and appreciating your body.
Exactly. And I will do that. I've sort of said after every day on the trail while I'm here, I'm going to do like a little 10-minute sort of yoga routine at the end of each day to also let my body relax, but also to signify like, okay, that's the end of that day running, and now I start my evening. So I don't, if I've had a really bad day on the trail, I don't like take it with me into my evening and stew on it.
Mm. Well, you've got such a long time out there.
I know.
It's so important to be positive all the time.
Yeah.
And I guess it's such a big part of your life. You want to really appreciate these moments and not just, go from day to day to day, but just take something away with you. So my next question to you was on fears. Do you have any fears going into this?
Yes, I have several. I guess the biggest one is not an uncommon fear, but it's really a fear of failure. I mean, you go for something like this, particularly if you put it out there quite publicly to say, this is what I'm trying to do. The thought of not being able to do it when so many people are cheering you on, it would suck if I couldn't do it. But one of the things I've sort of learnt to say is that I think it's more of a failure if I didn't at least try, and everyone that's following me is just hoping for me to do the best I can do. They're not going to be disappointed in me if for some reason I can't do it, but they'll just be a little bit disappointed for me, and there's a big difference in that.
Yes.
So I guess that's probably the overarching big fear, but then there's other little ones like mainly things I can't control. So like if I get injured, I could roll my ankle on a rock on the first day and break it. You just don't know that. There's also a few river crossings as well. So I guess they're a little bit scary in itself. Of course, I'm going to take all the safety precautions, and if it's flowing too fast, I'll probably run around it. But I guess that's one of the bigger unknowns. I'm like, I'm going to cross a river, and, you have visions of myself being swept down the river. But I'm sure I know that they're, we'll do everything we can to avoid those things.
Just normal fears, I guess, with, taking on anything that you don't know about. So what are you looking the most forward to? What's exciting you about this whole thing?
Oh, there's so many things, but I guess two of the things that stand out is probably three. One, I'm going to see some amazing sights. So I've already, I follow a few people that are hiking the trail at the moment, and it just looks phenomenal. So I cannot wait for that. Two is, I guess, being able to run with different people. So I've had amazing support from some of the running community in New Zealand who've emailed me or messaged me saying, hey, I'd love to run with you during certain sections. And that's amazing, and I can't wait to hopefully meet some new friends along the way. And I've also got some friends coming out from Oz to come and run with me for certain sections. So being able to share that with someone else is going to be amazing. And then the final thing is I get to eat so much food. I love eating food, and I'm going to be able to eat whatever I want all the time.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I do love about trails is that you get to walk the hills, and also that you get to go out and kind of have a picnic on the way.
Yes.
You need the calories to be able to survive. So love that aspect of running, and so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Food is fuel, and so I'm going to be needing a lot of fuel.
And what are some of the treats that you will have with you?
So I am fortunate enough to be sponsored by Cliff Bar. So I eat a lot of Cliff Bars and Cliff Blocks. But then it's things like peanut butter wraps, cheese, actually just slices of cheese. I take that with me. I love it. Ham and cheese croissants are a favourite as well. And then, lollies, bananas, chocolate, your staples, I guess.
And you've been training on all of this?
Yeah, it's interesting actually. I've been taking note of when I go out and do my big runs. Sometimes you crave things that you don't normally expect. And so during my training, we've kind of noted that down to make sure that we have those with us here, but also have a wide variety, because you don't want to be eating the same thing all the time. No. So it's pretty much a case of whatever I feel like eating, just have it. There's going to be no restrictions, because we just want to make sure I eat a lot.
So, I forgot to ask you at the start, how long is this going to take you?
Oh, yeah, I should have
How many days?
So, so aiming for 70 days.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to set the fastest known time for it, which is currently held by Mina Holder. and she did it in 77 days and I don't know, like 12 or 16 hours. So we're aiming for about 70.
Yeah. Nice. Wow. So yeah, one of my last questions to you, how can people follow your journey? Because this is the whole reason why I put you on, because I think it's so cool to be able to actually follow someone's journey. And maybe there's some girls out there that might actually want to join you at certain stages, or at least maybe be there to cheer you on as you come through. That would be great. I've personally got a couple of friends that will be meeting you at certain stages. So how can we get involved?
Easiest way to follow, I guess, is on Instagram. So it's adventurous_Lucy. So I'll be posting on there daily when I have reception. There may be a few days where I don't have reception. And then I've also got a map set up, which will have a tracker on it, so you can see where I am. I'll be sharing that probably later today. And so people can actually see where I am on the trail. So everyone is more than welcome to come and join me on the trail. The more, the merrier, I say. And the best way is you'll be able to see where I am through Instagram. But then, you can either message me via there, or actually you could also have a look on my website, which is adventurouslucy.com, and you can email me through there. So just get in touch, say where you might like to meet us, and then I'm sure we can hook it up from there. But if anyone wants to join me or even just say hi, please do. I would absolutely love it.
And what have you got a pace and goal, a pace in mind?
Oh no, I don't know. It's going. This is a strange thing for me, coming from a marathon road running background. You forget about pace. It's just as fast as the legs will go. I know a few people have said, "Oh, you might be too fast for me."
Okay, Lucy. So my last question to you will be on you giving the girls some motivational advice on if they're wanting to try something spectacular like you're doing.
So the thing I would say is probably sometimes if you think you want to do something, or you have a goal, and if you look at it, it might seem overwhelming in its enormity, I guess. But I would say just break it down into small chunks and chip away at it. When I first started planning this trip, I'd get overwhelmed and think, oh my God, I need to do this and this and this, and how am I going to run it day after day? And what about this and this? But actually, when I broke it down into little sections and just chipped away at it, it became a lot more achievable, and it wasn't as daunting. So, and I think as well, don't underestimate what you can do. Put your mind to something and you can do it. So I guess those are my kind of two things I'd say.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we can do anything, but it's just about, I guess, being smart about it, and like definitely set those goals, book in your next big hairy event before thinking about it too much, but then just make sure that you've got a plan, tick it off day by day.
Exactly. And there are some, look at what some of the other amazing women are doing. Like I mentioned earlier, Courtney Dauwalter, Camille Herron. There's also the lady that won the Bigs Ultra recently, Maggie someone or other, who ran the 60 hours straight. So, there are, and I bet you they worked up to those big achievements. So, if you work towards it, I'm sure, you can achieve it.
You'll get there in the end. Well, all the very best.
Thank you.
Cannot wait to watch you on your journey, Lucy. And I'm sure that, all of New Zealand are rooting for you as well. And I hope you enjoy our absolutely stunning and magical parts of New Zealand that you're going to have the absolute honour to run on. But we cannot wait to see all those photos and see how you progress. So, thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us about it. So now what are you off to do?
I think I'm just off to probably do a bit of stretching. I might have a nap, and then probably go and apparently there's a really good fish and chip shop nearby, so maybe have some fish and chips.
Excellent.
Just enjoy the last days of relaxing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Lucy. Take care, and we'll see you out there on the trail.
Sounds awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.